Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Are we looking at the death of college football with NIL, the transfer portal, everything taking place? I know some of you guys hate it. It's the world we live in. We're going to take a look at an article from the LA Times that is going to completely change the game. It's going to flip NIL and this whole mess on its head. We'll get into it. As always, smash that thumbs up. You guys know the deal. If you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not trying to be something we are not. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We are fans just like you. So if you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Last night, NCAA 13 stream, right as I went off air, a super chat came through and I missed it. So I wanted to go ahead and give a shout out to Wayne Starnes today. Got it on the screen there. Wayne dropped a $20 super chat. That ain't cheap. He dropped it right as I was going off air. So shout out to Wayne Starnes. Thank you for the support, buddy. I appreciate the super chat. He says, how about them baseballs? 18-0 beating Belmont home run derby 100. Go Vols. Thank you again, Wayne, for that super chat. I appreciate it, buddy. Let's jump into the article here. This is from the LA Times. Think NIL blew up college sports. California is going for the knockout with the new bill. The article kind of opens up talking about NIL getting approved and everything with that. But what we're talking about here is a new bill, SB 1401, says here would require California schools to share 50% of annual revenues in football and also men and women's basketball with the athletes, initiating a new era of pay for play and what college sport leaders fear would be a doomsday scenario for athletic departments that currently use profits from revenue sports to fund their non-revenue sports programs. So maybe this isn't the death of football. Maybe this isn't the death of college football. Maybe it is the death of rowing. Maybe it is the death of tennis. Other non-revenue sports. This is changing the game. If this bill goes through, this is going to change college athletics. And, you know, some of you guys in the comments of the last video I made about Kirk Herbstreit and his comments about the NIL funds, you know, somebody pointed out how much money is there to go around? How much money is there when you've got boosters funding NIL collectives? What about the donations to the athletic departments? What about, you know, all the renovations that are taking place at Neyland Stadium? I know our pockets are deep, but how deep are they? Now you're talking about taking revenue and dividing it amongst athletes up to 50%. Says the bill has passed through the Senate, Education, and Judiciary committees and now sits with the appropriate committee, which will weigh its budgetary impacts before deciding whether or not it will move on to the Senate floor or die. So we will see how this thing plays out. But there's a few questions here that they answer. How would the revenue sharing be structured? It says here California college athletes would be the first to receive payments related to their athletic performance directly from the schools. The NCAA, following what's been laid out in court decisions, has always fought to keep benefits tethered to education. And when you look at this, when you're talking about players getting paid for NIL, and then now you're going to look at them getting money from revenue from the schools, when is enough enough? I don't have a problem with college athletes earning some money. I have no problem with that at all. They're the ones that put the butts in the seats, right? They are the one that sell tickets. They're why we are making money. But when is enough enough? When you're talking about, look at an NFL player, right? They earn a salary. They're a paid athlete, but that's their salary. So is NIL the college athlete's salary, or do they deserve to be paid by the school? Again, when is enough enough? But they're talking about tethering that payment to academics. It says here much of the compensation still would be related to academics. It says the bill states a noble goal of improving graduation rates for black athletes in football and men's and women's basketball. It drives me nuts. I don't know why we have to point out the race. Let's just talk about athletes in general. I don't know why we have to make it about race. It says the only three sports where players currently don't receive more than 50% of revenues back purely through their scholarships. It says schools would establish a degree completion fund for each athlete, and the contents of the fund, fed annually, would be available soon after degree completion. So within 6 years, it says if the athlete does not graduate within 6 years, he or she will forfeit that fund. Players would have immediate access to $25,000 each year, while the rest would build over time. So it goes on. Another question: how much money are we talking about? It says the amount owed to each athlete would be half of the sport's total revenue minus the team's total student grant and aid package divided by the number of players. For instance, each USC football player could make upwards of $200,000 a year. Again, how much money do we have? How much money can we put into this program? Is this the death? Is college football going to die if this bill goes through in California? The article says, think about taking 15 to 20 million that currently has been used to reinvest in football resources and to fund the rest of the athletic department and transferring it to football players. And it's easy to see why administrators are getting ready for a fight. Again, how much money is there to go around? Are we talking about the death of other sports and the entire college infrastructure for sports, for athletics? Says on the other side of the coin, and this point will be argued by Senator Stephen Bradford, the bill's author and National College Players Association executive director, should it really have been college football and basketball players sacrifice all these years to subsidize the training of America's future Olympians? I'm not even going to address that. It says, would athletes be classified as employees? The bill states pay-for-play model must stop at designating athletes as employees, stating this does not establish evidence of an employment relationship between student-athlete and their institution of higher education. This is all fluff and BS, not an employee. The last time I checked, if you're getting paid $200,000 a year to compete, to perform, you are an employee. But we're going to twist and change the words of the way this bill is written out. It says, among administrators, this is viewed as clever wording. Yep, I agree. Meant to make the bill easier to pass and harder to lobby against. The assumption is that once pay-for-play begins, employment and collective bargaining will quickly follow. The NCAA is dead. As I read through this article, the NCAA is non-existent. Non-existent. How are you going to compete with state laws? Again, we've talked about the NIL collective for Tennessee. When the state law passes and makes it legal for that collective to talk to the school, how can the NCAA step in and overturn laws passed by states? I don't get it. Talking about how likely it is to pass is hard to know. It's got a long way to go, needing to make it through the Senate and then through a bunch of committees in the Assembly and then the Assembly floor before moving to the governor's desk. The bill's already been amended. The original asked for the Title IX protections and mechanisms in place to curb the cutting of non-revenue sports. Those parts have been removed to fully focus on revenue sharing. Given the massive implications for the athletic department budgets, as it's currently written, there has been discussion about amending the payment structure to give the schools the option of distributing only new revenues, increases year over year to the players. In that case, USC football made $10 million more in 2022 than it did in 2021. Then all of the gain would go to feeding the players' degree completion funds. It has their right under $118,000 each, but the department would be available to continue to use the same amount from 2021 to fund the doomsday scenario. So again, big time changes coming in the world of NIL. Again, none of this has been passed. None of it has been made official, but it just shows you once you open Pandora's box, and a lot of you guys put that in the comment section, they opened Pandora's box and there's no going back at this point. We are going to continue to see this happen all across the country. Nothing. That's why the legislation trying to control it, trying to put up barriers is not going to work. The NCAA, the way everything was set up and done, it's over. NIL is what it is. It is the Wild West, and we are going to continue to see more changes over the coming months and years. And is college football officially dead? Hit that comment section. Let me know your thoughts. I know that was kind of a lengthy article, a lot of information to unpack there, but I wanted to get it out to you guys and see what you thought. If you have not done so yet, please smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. Also, go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin' VAWLS Network. You can go to bonfire.com/store/TalkinVaws. Any and all support greatly appreciated. Thanks to everybody that hung out last night for the NCAA stream. Always enjoy shooting the bull, talking a little Vol football with you guys. Always a good time. But again, any and all support greatly appreciated at bonfire.com/store/TalkinVaws. The links to all that is in the description below, but that's going to wrap it up for this one. This is the Talkin' VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.